Yeah. I got a third shot a while back, and now that Johnson & Johnson is coming out, I might go get that too if they let me.
I want the full cocktail.
I do. I'm like, why not? What it, like, I've already got 3 of them. Why not go for 4 of them? See what happens. Maybe I'll grow an arm out of my belly like Sigourney Weaver and Aliens. Who knows? Who knows?
Phone number, Steven.
Pardon me?
So this says you call it.
He was asking for your number.
250-264.
And.
Do you want to have that get recorded?
Yeah, there's an email.
Pardon?
Yeah, I don't mind if it's recorded. 250-264-764.
Because I wanted to add a couple of things to.
Oh, it's like recorded on the live stream.
Yep, I call for.
It's the board owns this phone, not me.
Oh, so really you can just stomp on it, run it over, get a new one, not worry about it.
I need to be available. That's my point.
Yeah, do you really though? You know, really?
Does Bill not, so yeah, it's also in the email that Leah sent out, and Helen actually.
Your audit committee representatives, so,
And then sorry, the school.
and school liaison.
Do we still have Nicole online then? Yeah. Okay, good.
Okay.
And so Nicole, you have my cell phone number in the email as well, correct?
Well, we might need to send it to her.
I sent it to
I
her
think
in
I-
email earlier.
Or
She's in my
text.
contacts, so she must have mine.
Just text her, Steven, say, hi, it's me. You can get in touch with me 24/7.
What is the question, Stephen? If I have your cell number?
Yes.
I don't think so. Are you sure you want me to have it?
I did email it to you, Nicole.
But she can't get into her.
Oh, you
Right,
can't get into her
I'm
email.
gonna.
Oh,
send-
yeah.
I'll send it to her.
I think I have it.
I'm gonna send you a quick hello right now.
Okay.
And let me know if you got that.
Yep, I did.
Okay, thank you. And, Bill's got mine first.
Is Bill on there?
Yes. Pardon me? That's fine. Good.
Okay. I would like to call the meeting to order at 5:32.
6:32.
6:32, my. Aaron?
That was Ida, actually.
It's 6:32. Sorry, people. I'd like to acknowledge that today's board meeting is being held within the traditional territory of the Daneza and Treaty 8.
And there's a nice poem as part of that acknowledgement on the screen. It says, "Here is the land, here is the sky, here are my friends, and here am I. We thank and acknowledge the Daneza people on whose land we work and play, and we promise to take care of it every day."
So in that particular school, the Aboriginal acknowledgement is done by everybody, and they've all memorized that. And did that. And there's been specific teaching to it.
Sorry, Anson.
Oh, that was great. I'd like to call for any additions to the agenda.
So we'll add, if we could, 3.8 audit committee
Mhm.
and 3.9 school liaison assignment.
Is it election?
To the election rules. Correct.
Yeah.
Underneath, it's, we'd like to do them.
Not necessarily. I don't-
We call it other duties, but we missed it when we did agenda setting.
So, motion for the acceptance of the agenda? Aaron and Ida? All in favor? Carried. Okay. So you'll have to bear with my clumsiness a little bit here. So I'm giving out call for nominations for the board chair.
while she's handing those out, I think that we should just let the public know that the reason the secretary treasurer is starting the meeting is because on election night, that we don't have a chairperson until the elections are done. So whoever wins the title of the chairperson will take over after they've been elected. But just so that it's clear why our secretary treasurer is starting to run the meeting.
Thank you very much, Ina. It wasn't in my script.
You have Madeline's email that she sent, but I don't know whether you use that or not. I don't use it.
So, sorry, to be clear, how am I voting, Stephen?
If you and Bill could text me directly right now, we're on nominations for board chair. Even if you do not have anyone to nominate, can you tell me that?
Okay.
Am I going to be Madeline?
Bill, if you just texted me, I'm not sure what it means. And are you 261? Oh, I can't say the number, sorry. Did you just text me, Bill?
Yeah, you can say the number.
261-3129?
Yep.
Okay, so could you send me another text to clarify what you just sent me?
You're learning so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicole, got it. So we don't actually need to go away. We're going to be asking people if they want their names to stand. This is not a vote. So we can just see. Okay, so far, in terms of nominations for chair, we have two names that were brought forward for the nomination of chair, Helen Gilbert and Ida Campbell. Ida Campbell, will you let your name stand?
No.
Helen, will you let your name stand?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That was easy.
That's it for that.
No election. Whoop, whoop. Look at what happens. You should let Angela take over from now on.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is when I handed over to you.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Just turn over to the new chair.
Good job. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Helen, board chair now again. Happy birthday to you. You're 65.
Wow.
Okay. All right, election of vice chair. Madeline will look at nominations, and I do have some information from Madeline.
So accepting nominations for vice chair.
We're
Oh,
looking
I'm
at
sorry,
vice-
you're back on it. Thank
Yeah,
you, sorry about that.
That's okay.
My fault.
No, that's absolutely
You having
fine.
to cover me
So
along.
I need to know. I need to.
Did she text in at all?
Thank you, Bill.
She can't, she's in the air,
But she's emailed.
but she did email.
She sent
She sent-
Angela an email.
Trustee Snow, I'm only getting one letter. Can you send me the actual name?
Oh, okay.
Sorry, there's sometimes more than one person. Oh, no, there isn't.
There isn't.
Okay, send me the name anyway. I want to be clear.
And Z. I wanted to nominate Zed because Zed is not dead.
Thank you.
If anybody noticed.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
That'd be a Fishburne line.
No, it was a Bruce Willis line,
In what movie?
Pulp Fiction. And maybe it was John, it's the guy on the motorcycle. No, Bruce Willis was because it was.
Thank you, Trustee
it
Gillis.
was
I have that
Zed's
now.
watch.
No, there's.
That's watch. And he was, and Zed was beating him up and then he comes out of the base and he's like, Zed's dead, baby, Zed's dead. I'm pretty sure it was that Pulp Fiction. It's not from Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, Bruce Willis was in Pulp Fiction.
Okay, trustees, we have 3 nominations for vice chair: Nicole Gillis, Aaron Evans, and Madeline Lehman. We do know that Madeline is letting her name stand. Nicole Gillis, will you let your name stand for vice chair?
Yes.
Thank you. So we'll have a vote. And Aaron Evans, will you let your name stand for vice chair? The
No.
answer is no. We have our 2 trustees running for vice chair. Thank you. I'll need 2. Here's a bag. And I'll need 2.
Here, I'll grab it.
Sorry,
Oh,
thanks.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Got it, Bill, thank you.
Secret aluminum free helps eliminate odor instead of just masking it.
Thank you, trustee Gillis, I have your vote. Do we have everyone's vote? Okay, now we go outside.
Well, there was a lot of. Huh?
I don't know what they're doing today.
All right. You do have way more experience than I do.
Call you tomorrow.
I'm here for you guys.
I know you.
I don't have to be in that chair. I can be.
I'm not here from the 18th to 12th.
Yeah, Mike said, I don't know what they're gonna do tomorrow. Because if they take the medals out, that's 12 weeks. So then I'll really have to zoom in. I said, if they take the medals out of my legs, it's 12-week procedure.
12-week recovery?
Yeah, recovery.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
procedure, no.
Well, no,
That's not-
it's to take them out and then by the time that
Back to full strength or moderate strength.
6 weeks, they say, in a hospital bed. What? They say, I can be at home, but
Wow.
there are that many medals.
No weight bearing then,
God.
just let the,
But they're hoping they can do laser on it and mend the problem, so.
I'm not going through the airport security with you.
you, please go behind me.
Yeah, never. I'll make sure, I cut in front.
Chair, we have an even amount of votes for each candidate. And so staff recommendation is to wait to get the vote from the missing trustee. And then we would postpone the result. Ida, any background on this?
We've never had a tie because there's always been, 7 trustees. Yeah,
So in
So-
light of that, we would recommend that we get the final vote. from
That's
the
right.
missing trustee.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
That's what I
I
would
don't know
do.
if we can do that.
Why not?
Can we try to reach out to her and see if
I will
she
try.
hasn't boarded yet?
We don't want to make assumptions.
No,
as to
no.
who
No, I know, but-
trustee.
no.
But I think we would be okay if necessary to come back to this.
Does anybody have an objection to that?
Yes.
I think we could make a motion to do that.
Yeah, I would hand it back over to the chair then to see
I think that
if we
would be
don't get an
safest.
answer.
I think it'd be safest to make a
Yeah,
motion
true.
that we.
How would they feel about it? Sorry. There's 2 people.
Well, yeah, but before we
Good.
even ask the question, the chair's gonna have to put it out there.
I agree, and I think we should have a motion before,
Yeah, I think we should have a motion and then that'll cover it.
clear it up, yeah.
So I've just texted Madeline. We did have an email to say that she would be willing to let her name stand, but that's not
We
the
didn't
have
have
a-
same situation.
Yeah.
So
It
And how does that affect like other names moving forward? So how do you now?
You know what, I think that we should make a motion, but make a motion that we start with nominees again. Like do the whole process, don't just wait for her
To vote.
to vote,
Okay.
because we know now it's a tie.
Yeah.
So I think we should, I'll make the motion that
Okay, you
we
make the motion.
postpone the vice chair election until all trustees can be in attendance. And that we start the process right from the beginning with the nominees again.
So moved.
So.
Or sorry,
Seconder,
yeah.
seconded by.
Can I add a friendly amendment? Can I say that we can do it at a committee meeting as well?
I don't think we
Oh,
can.
no, we can't, can we?
Well, we could call it a special board meeting.
You do it all
So
too.
Leah, the motion was to start the process again for vice chair.
That the Board of Education postpone the vice chair election until all trustees can be in attendance.
Yeah.
And
And that was moved by you and seconded by who?
Or David.
Okay, David, whoever.
we're on to the next one.
Okay, but just,
We
how
should
does
need
that
to vote on
affect?
it.
How then
It doesn't matter. For the
doesn't
rest of
matter.
them, it doesn't matter.
Well,
can
if,
do-
unless there's another tie.
Unless there's
We'll
another
cross that
tie,
bridge.
so let's do it position
Can
by
we, wait,
position.
can we vote on that motion first?
Yes, we can. All in favor? Thank you.
What about Nicole?
Nicole?
Yeah, she's there, yeah, she's putting.
I don't know if she's voting for it or against.
She said she's.
I was all in favor of that.
Thank you. For some reason, we can only seem to see, we don't see both of you. We either see you or we see Bill, so it's kind of weird.
Actually, Leah, maybe change it to gallery view.
I think it's because Bill's not muted, so it keeps going to him even if there's a little bit of noise.
Okay.
Bill.
there we go.
There
we go.
Hey, and Michelle's there now too. Thank you, Michelle. We can see everybody now.
What is this for? What are we electing?
Provincial council.
Provincial counselor, we're moving on.
So trustee Snow and Gillis, we're looking for nominations for provincial council.
Provincial council now. That's what I thought.
I love it. Favorite. I'll do it for one more year.
Got it, Bill, thank you. Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah. I'm as close to saying yes, because I want to be the longest running
Trustee Lehman.
Over Heather.
I think I've got her by 1 year anyway.
Snort?
I know, that's the best thing I've heard.
But I said that I'll be the longest running one in Fort
That's
Saskatchewan. But I
hilarious.
think I am this next year because
Who do you think it is?
I think I am.
No, other than,
Heather.
Heather was.
But I think
for
I
sure.
got 1 year on Heather.
That's hilarious.
We have two nominees for provincial councillor, trustee Gillis and trustee Evans. So trustee Gillis, will you let your name stand?
Yes.
Trustee Evans?
Yes.
So we have a vote. Where's the bag for that one? Thank you, Bill. I got your vote. I just need Nicole. Oh, yes, I got it. So thank you, Nicole, I got it.
Oh,
keep you trusting.
Sort of, well,
Robert Robert's rules does say if there's a typo, continue as many times as necessary to obtain a majority vote. That's not based on an absence.
But it could be, somebody could abstain too, right? Like,
Nobody could do anything about controversy.
no, it's not her fault.
I don't know the right wording, but the provincial counselor is Erin Evans.
Yay,
Is that the right wording?
Congratulations, your favorite job. Your
I love
favorite
it.
job.
I know it is my
was gonna
favorite.
put Mrs. something on. but
You could have, they would have understood.
They would have understood that it wouldn't have been any fun because I wouldn't be able to tease you.
This is smarty pants.
All right,
Okay.
we're looking for election of alternate nominations right now for the alternate provincial counselor.
Aren't you glad these are color coded now, Angela?
You.
Sweating here.
Oh,
I've got your vote, or your nomination, Bill, thank you.
You need those big handled things that we go at.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you
Yeah.
stick your thing in.
Thank you, Nicole.
they're all a COVID distance too.
Work the zip up.
She wants to be chair again, that's fine.
Yeah, you can go back. I'll second
To
it.
laugh, Stephen, they're making
No,
fun of
no,
me.
it's all good. We have two nominees, trustee Snow and trustee Gillis. First of all, trustee Gillis, will you let your name stand? Yes. And trustee Snow, will you let your name stand? Sounds good. The thumbs up. So now to a vote.
Sorry, I took that bag.
Thank you, Bill. I have your vote. Got it. Nicole, thank you.
I don't know, they're home alone, but they seem to be in good spirits when I left. Fingers crossed nobody dies.
The alternate provincial counselor is Nicole Gillis.
Congratulations, Nicole. Thanks, Nicole, for standing. Right, before we move on to election of our BCPC rep, could I have those that are in conflict declare so we know who we are nominating from? Because there are some trustees that can't stand for this position.
I'm in conflict, trustee Evans.
The conflict, David Scotland Creek.
So.
I am
we're-
conflict, trustee Snow.
Thank you. So we're nominating between Ida, Madeline, Nicole,
And you.
and me. Yeah,
You could take it if you wanted, Helen.
Ida's doing just wonderfully.
So calling for nominations for BCPC rep.
There's a lot of chairs that do BCPC and provincial council and chair.
Please, can you expand on how you feel about that?
Well,
They like the
not during
control.
COVID times, I can tell you.
No, yeah, God.
Got it, Bill, thank you.
I can't even imagine like a chair who is working full-time during COVID.
Absolutely not,
Okay,
yeah.
got yours as well, Nicole, thank you. So we have two nominations for trustee Campbell and trustee Gillis. Trustee Gillis, do you let your name stand for BCPC rep?
Sure, yes.
Trustee Campbell, do you let your name stand?
Yes.
We go to a vote. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Nicole. Helen, you reminded me that in the past, the chair has announced the winners each time, so we're just gonna let you do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our BCPC rep is Ida Campbell.
Yay.
That's okay. You know, I'm not gonna make a
Congratulations.
Hey, bargaining here. All right,
Oh, right, it is, isn't it?
election of alternate BCPC rep. Again, it can only be amongst those 4 people.
So nominations at this point.
Nominations, yeah.
That's funny, Ida.
Well, 3 technically, because you're not gonna vote for Ida again.
I've got this.
No, yeah, I
Thank you,
guess.
Bill.
Yeah, I can't do both.
Well, I suppose you could, but then if you're sick, I don't know if your alter ego could take over.
You would know about all the egos.
Helen, I want you to notice I grabbed yours first that time.
I saw that. Thank you very much.
Finally, I'm catching on toward the end.
And you guys were doing such sufficient job and just let you.
Thank you, Nicole.
It feels really warm in here and the next minute my feet are freezing.
Yeah, my face is really hot, I can feel it.
I must be on the left side, goes on that side, because I'm just right.
You're just,
Thanks very much, guys.
thanks, Mama Bear. Wasn't it Mama Bear that was just right?
We have 2 nominations for the BCPC alternate rep, trustee Gillis and trustee Gilbert. Trustee Gilbert, do you accept?
Yeah, I will.
Trustee Gillis, do you accept nomination? Yes, there's a vote.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
You just show it.
Now she's all efficient.
Thank you, Nicole.
We'll have to send one of them home soon. Looking forward to it. He's a great kid.
We're gonna need to ask for a motion again,
Now,
to do this
especially
again
because
because of a tie.
4-year
vote.
terms.
All right, can I get a motion to do this again because we have a tie vote and we've done it, set precedents already. So moved by Aaron, seconded by David, and we'll look at this again. All in favor?
Okay.
Right, and thank you for your letting us add some odd things under election of board officers, and thank you for everybody willing to let their names stand. We'll change this for next year, and put a new heading here that says other board duties. So, because when this was all first organized, we didn't have the audit committee, and we do not elect the chair of the audit committee because that is elected, the person who's your chair for your audit committee is elected at the first meeting of the audit committee. But we know from now having had an audit committee operate for 1 year, we need to have at least 3 trustees volunteer to be on that, recognizing that your board chair can attend at all times, so we don't run into a problem with not enough for a quorum.
Can I before we start that, Helen, can I make a notice a motion to destroy the ballots?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, you can.
And with the proviso, other than the.
Other than the
No,
other.
they still
Oh,
need to
that
be
is right,
destroyed.
because we're starting again.
Because we're starting this.
Absolutely, thank you.
So notice, we've got a motion to destroy the ballots made by Aaron, seconded by,
You gonna vote? Raise your hand. There you go.
seconded by Nicole, so the ballots will be destroyed. All in favor? Ballots will be destroyed. Okay, not getting any better on that. All right, now, other board duties as I got into talking about audit committee, because we sort of forgot audit committee last time and it became a bit of.
Aaron,
Yes. Yes, Bill.
can you destroy Steven's phone for me?
Can I what?
Oh, yeah, I actually, it's a valid point. I can delete those texts right now.
Right,
Very good. Good call.
good call.
Yeah,
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, not a problem. I can do that.
So we know we need 3 in addition to the board chair, recognizing that anytime the audit committee meets, everybody is welcome to be there, but we need 3 people to be.
Make sure
willing
at
to
least
take
somebody
that
is
role.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
So David, Madeline will do audit committee, so I'm looking, I've got David, I've got Madeline, I'm looking hopefully for a 3rd person who's willing to do audit committee.
No, I don't want another 72
Nicole?
Love
page
my
slideshow.
presentation.
Thank you. Okay, so we have David, Madeline, Nicole.
Perfect.
Great, we've got what we need there. And I did reach out to people and ask if there was anybody that wanted any changes to their school liaison assignment. And everybody seems happy because I didn't really hear anything back.
Did you
So,
send that in an email?
yep,
I didn't.
Sorry.
find an email?
Did I answer?
Helen,
yep.
I think I did see that in an email and I should have responded back, but I was just wondering if maybe we could give that some thought. So my schools lose out because honestly, I liaise good with Hudson's Hope, but I rarely make it to my Fort St. John schools. Honestly, I think, I live an hour away. So just for the sake of my schools, if maybe it's just not fair to them.
Froze.
She's not frozen, but there.
Okay.
You froze up there. Can you do it again?
I have to repeat all of that?
Yeah.
No, just the unfrozen.
Okay, so I said that I don't make it to my in-town schools very often, which are Central and Duncan Cran. So they're at a bit of a disadvantage. So, I liaise well with Hudson's Hope, but I just do not make it to them. I email once in a while, but like to get there in person. So I'm just wondering if, they've had me for 3 years. Maybe they'd like somebody better for a bit.
Erin?
Can I make a suggestion? Because I don't recall that email and you might have sent it, but I don't remember it. Can I ask that we talk about this at the committee of the whole meeting?
Yeah, we can move it to committee of the whole.
Because I have to think about it too, because I, like I do struggle to get to my schools because I'm working like all the time, right? And so it's tough for me too. So I'd like to think about this for a bit.
Yeah, and I did answer Helen when she reached out to me. And my comment to her, and I'd like to share it with all the trustees, is that I do have lots of time. So if you can't go to one of your schools and they ask for someone, please let me know because I can go. Because right now, I know that like Finch School, I'm their rep, but Helen goes in there an awful lot. So I've talked and we're going to both be there, and same as Belle Donald, we've talked to Christine and she
And
says
I
so.
know that, Nicole, there's a
So-
couple of times that I've reached out to Central and I've reached out to Duncan Crown and done a check-in. For Madeline and David and even Ida, there's some regional nature to who you're gonna represent. I'm not gonna suggest that I take on Upper Halfway when David's elected from the Upper Halfway region. So,
We can go back.
but we can come back, we'll move this to the committee of the whole. On the board work plan, it's something that actually board chairs is to do in October with the idea that you can finalize it here. I did participate in the NPA meeting earlier tonight and said that I thought their liaisons would all stay the same, but I will send them a message that it will be confirmed in December. Bill?
I did respond to that email,
Okay,
and I actually was one of the ones I asked if I could have another school or two.
okay, yep.
Because like I email mine, but I don't go in there, right?
Okay.
Let's go back.
So we'll come.
All right, we'll come back to it. The important thing is actually when we're elected to the board, we actually represent all schools. The concept of a trustee liaison though is to give that extra reach out.
Right.
And that's easy to do, okay? So Leah, we'll look at making some changes to the agenda for next year for this. And we'll add, basically, presentations and delegations would become number 5, and what we'll add is other board duties
You mean next month?
next year.
Oh, okay, next year.
Yeah, because we carry over to kind of build,
That's fine.
and we meant to add audit committee, but I forgot about it at the agenda setting meeting. All right. Youth Advisory Council, there's an attachment to our package from Stephen, and I'll let Stephen speak to it because that's our presentation.
Yeah, thanks, Ellen. And so I don't need to display this. You have the attachment in your binder or online. And this is an annual advertisement or communication that the city puts out, and we make sure our schools are aware of it. So if there's any questions, I could try and respond, but basically we cooperate with the city to get their message out in terms of this Youth Advisory Council.
Did we put some funding towards it last year?
No, we did
Okay.
not.
Any questions of Stephen related to that? Okay, moving on to trustee celebrations. We'll start with trustee Campbell.
Yes, since last meeting, I went to the Taylor School Remembrance Day ceremony. They couldn't have parents in because of the COVID numbers, but they did ask myself and a council member to join with them. It was very nicely done, and it was nice to go in and be part of it and be able to attend that. I did end up going after Helen had let me know that the Belle Donald School was down skating in Taylor. So I went and attended to watch the kids skate, and our board chair, she put her skates on and was skating around as well with the kids. And I did go to the Taylor PAC meeting, and it was the first one that they've had by Zoom. They've been having them in person, but this was the first one they had by Zoom. And it's because they're trying to get a few more members because they're We only have a couple on their path this year, so. That's what I have to report.
Trustee Evans.
Yeah, I went to the Remembrance Day service to lay our wreath for the school district, but they didn't call us up, so it was late after, and I was asked to lay the wreath for the regional district. That was an interesting event. So I went to that, and then attended the BCST Provincial Council meeting, and we had it a couple weekends back, which I'll speak to the motions that came up later, and that's about it.
Thank you. Trustee Gillis.
What have I been doing? Well, there's been more volleyball, a few more coaching sessions of volleyball. And I did the career fair, but I think we already talked about that. Yeah, that's about it. That and my self-isolation has kept me busy.
Thank you. And Madeline sends her regrets via Air Canada. Trustee Scott Moncrief.
I've been in contact with most of a good chunk of my schools, just keeping up to date with what's going on and how they're handling it and any problems. But everything seems to be okay.
Trustee Snow.
The week before I left, I went out and visited my schools to see how it was going. Took a walk around for a little bit. All was going good.
Thank you. So I did my first meeting with the BCSDA's climate working group and have another one coming up on November the 22nd. Attended a bargaining meeting and Bert Bowe's PAC meeting. I did, with Ida, we did the BCPC symposium. Baldonnel School, I was away, missed their PAC meeting, but they have apparently got the work done on their outdoor skating rink and are hoping to get that flooded this year. I've sent you all the information on the board chair meetings that I've been part of. Remembrance Day, I just want to express publicly my appreciation for the work done in all of our schools to honor those that have served for our country. I enjoyed looking at many of the Remembrance Day assembly videos that were posted online and had things listed. Then I looked at Stephen's report, and he's got many of the things I was going to talk about in his report, so I'm not going to repeat them. And I did attend the NPA meeting online tonight, so that's it. All right, moving on to 6.0 of our agenda, 6.0, minutes of the regular board meeting of October the 18th, which is pages 6 to 12 in your package. If I could have a mover and a seconder, please, for those minutes. Moved by Aaron, seconded by Bill. Are there any errors or omissions? All in favor then? Carried. Business arising from the minutes. The Zoom link did come out for a SUPAC meeting. We do have a SUPAC meeting coming up, and once that link's sent, everybody else can. The ELL results, we did look at in camera for FSA because of the small numbers involved. And that looks like. And we did refer to the policy, we did make a referral to the policy committee for creation of a policy in regards to board meeting recordings, i.e. location, retention, accommodations, and et cetera. So the action items from those minutes are taken care of. No further business rising, we'll take a look at an approval of the excerpt of the regular board meeting of September 20th, 2021, which is page 13 in your package.
Helen will go back and vote though.
We'll go back and vote. All in favor? I don't know why I don't want to let you vote. Thank you, Ida, for the dental reminder. I don't know why I don't want to vote. I think I took it off early. I think,
yeah, I had all in.
Thought we had done it.
And I'll move the excerpt.
You move the excerpt, seconded by David. Any errors or omissions in those little excerpts? Calling the question, all in favor? Announcement and reminders. I'd like to go down to December 6th, the NPA meeting. And I did do a reach out to Nancy Maxfield, who is the president of the NPA right now, to ask what they were going to do about dinner. And they are just in the process of sending out a survey to their members to see if they're going to do a dinner or not. It sounds like it's a little bit with the health regulations and not knowing what's going to happen on the 19th and things like that, a bit more complicated. And so I did suggest that we would be willing as trustees not to participate in a joint dinner this year if it made it easier for them to organize, because I do think it's really important that admin have an opportunity to get together in a social setting and have a relaxing time and opportunity to interact, and it just makes it easier if it's a smaller group to organize. So you can take the Christmas dinner question mark off. They may or may not have a Christmas dinner, but at this point it wouldn't apply to us. Are there any other changes to announcements and reminders?
Was her hand up?
Nicole?
Just one question, just verifying the Fort St. John Mingle thing. I remember an email about this. It's still 4:30 to 6, or did that get changed?
That's what it changed
That's what it
to.
changed to.
Okay, so it's in my calendar 4:30, so that's already been changed. That's the change. Okay. Right, okay.
In RSVP, because I don't know if I can go or not. So if I can go, I'll just show up.
And I did RSP that I might be a maybe, because I don't know if I'll be back, but I will zoom into
The meeting?
the meeting.
I had
so.
trouble with their RSVP system, so I don't.
Yeah, I put mine in and I got 3 answers back.
Yeah, it's kind of
But I
weird,
did
so I
maybe.
may just email rather than RSVP
I just
that way.
did maybe.
And we did have a discussion at the agenda setting meeting. The invitation this year came and it didn't necessarily extend to district staff. And so we've talked about it, and district staff's feelings aren't hurt.
They should.
If we were to do things on our own. Should we felt that if there are contentious items that were to come up there, that we want district staff to be there to respond on or to be available to comment on, we would just all refer those to another time.
I don't ever remember going to a Christmas mingle, that any discussion like that.
That's
ever
the
come
wrong
up.
place for that kind of meeting
I
anyway.
have to- Yeah.
I just, because
I
we
don't understand
definitely,
why.
we were all sort of trying to think back, and the last one we had was at the Passive Solar House. And district staff was definitely there.
Yeah.
So then we talked about is it or isn't it a meeting and a mingle and things like that, and it's not really. And it was fair to say that these guys failing weren't hurt at all. If
Angela
we-
can RSVP in my place.
if we didn't go. The other thing right now is the invitation to Northern Lights College Board got extended late, and we're not really sure whether they will be there or not be there. So we'll wait and see what happens and follow up with our invitation to them to try and get a meeting together in the spring.
Is Tyler still aboard?
Pardon?
Who's the chair of that board?
I
Is that Tyler?
I don't know who it is off the top of my head.
Oh, I think it's Dawn. But Jameson.
Oh, okay.
Just a question for staff. Their feelings aren't hurt, but you know, it's about relationship building and stuff, and they're often the ones that actually deal with city staff. So is there a benefit to them attending or trying to get an invite or no?
I don't know if they
Well,
need.
our feeling was, you know, we're certainly not, we understand that's okay if that's what they want. I will say that we thought it was unusual. However, our feelings are not hurt, and from a governance perspective, if that's what they want to do, and the purpose of this mingle is for that, then we understand.
Okay. Do we know if city staff will be there?
I would be very surprised
We're assuming.
if they were.
If they were, sorry, or weren't?
I'd be surprised if they were there, because then we would expect to be invited.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that would be my hope, is that we don't walk in and see a bunch of city staff and you guys aren't there.
Then I guess we have other things to worry about.
Yeah, we have bigger problems.
With bigger problems. We just weren't, we talked about it in agenda setting, and it's just all supposed to be a friendly, nice
Yeah.
thing, so,
Okay. I'll be friendly then.
okay, you'll be friendly. All right.
Just shoot a text.
Moving on to 9.0, senior staff reports.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And item number 1 is our Human Resources Summary Report. Item number 2 is the online superintendent's report, which I'll refer to now on the screen. And under intellectual, for our framework for enhancing student learning, just a reminder to the public that the full framework is available at that link. For the month of November, I've just decided to profile the Camp Cameron, which is part of the intellectual development of school district and of students. And if you click on that photo, it will take you to what we're doing as a profile. Director of Instruction Jared Bell is working with various departments to profile some of our programs around the district. So we'll feature those here as well. Item number 2 are the second part there, human and social development. Just a reminder to the public and trustees that we continue to offer parent workshops. They're very well attended. They basically sell out in terms of the numbers. They're free. When I say sell, I mean they're booked up. There's no cost. It was fun to take a picture with the fire department who spearheaded the social media challenge and ended up collectively raising over $12,000. And they just kind of showed up here, so we took a picture, and we're recognizing that. And it's for breakfast programs. So the district continues to be quite well supported by a number of different organizations for our meals and food programs. I invite the public and trustees to click on the November Careers newsletter, a number of items in there submitted by our principal careers, Brian Campbell, as well as some information on the virtual speaking challenge, which has been sent out to all school locations. Upcoming for human resources development for our staff, more Pro-D on thinking classrooms. If trustees remember, we did a presentation here, I think it was last spring, on a guest that we have coming from time to time, working with a group of secondary and middle school teachers, and we're extending that to elementary now for thinking classrooms, as well as a workshop on number sense. Around truth and reconciliation, we're working through our library text in schools to make sure that we're doing some work around the appropriate titles and selection of text that respect the Indigenous perspective in the light of truth and reconciliation. Some more information there you can read about. Also on that, just a little blurb here around Allen Holland, where our counselor, Indigenous counselor Del Boissonneau, and 3 ELC students led the entire school in a drum circle as part of their Orange Day celebrations and National Truth and Reconciliation Day. Under Take 3, celebrations around the district, Dr. Kearney held a very popular haunted house at their school, attended by community and public and their own students. So that was great to see, and was well reported as well. And as Helen alluded to, there were a number of items and events around the district. These are two superstars in the district who sing O Canada in Cree as well as in English. And so they're always on call at this time of the year to perform around the district. And Taylor Elementary did a number of things around Remembrance Day, including, like other schools, their assembly, but they also had quite a neat feature that I'm showing you now called No Stone Unturned. And so the students created some lovely Remembrance Day poppies painted onto stones that were then placed onto gravestones of veterans and recognizing that. So the students actually did a real full cycle type of activity around Remembrance Day, and so that was well celebrated. That's my superintendent's report on line item number 2. I'll ask to be taken out for a motion in terms of an out-of-district field trip. Similar, number 3, I'd ask that to be removed to approve community coaches. And that is my report.
Thank you very much. So, I have a mover and a seconder on the superintendent's report. Moved by Aaron, seconded by, David was pointing at Bill. He can
There you go.
got his hand up now, seconded by David. Can we go through your electronic report and then we'll look at the motions separately at the end? See if there's any questions. Ida?
I have 2 comments for your electronic, and one of them is with the fire department. I thought that was really neat that they did that. So I actually shared it on my Facebook, and I have a nephew that is the vice chair of the Canadian Volunteer Fire Department. He picked up on it. So their fire department is going to do a similar thing in their small community. And he also is going to take the information and take it to the Canadian firefighters. So I thought that was pretty cool because he's from Saskatchewan. So he picked it up and so he was going to contact this fire department as well.
Maybe next year they can have a little competition who can raise the most money.
And then I just want to talk a little bit about the No Stone Unturned. They did that last year where they just put the poppies on the graves, but this year they actually did the stones and they were so nice. And Stephen, I should have told you which one was my dad because they put one on my dad's grave. So it's something that the community really likes, and I know that it's really appreciated with the families down. But the stones were so nice.
It was a really nice touch. Aaron?
Hannah went to the Dr. Kearney Haunted House, but it was at the farmer's market. Yeah, so, which I thought it was at the school, but no, it wasn't at the school. It was at, where the farmer's market is.
Oh.
And, she said it was scary.
My granddaughter thought the same thing.
Yeah, she said it was kind of spooky, but it was really well done, and it was, yeah, she said it was really neat that they did that, because Community Bridge hasn't done theirs for a few years, and so, yeah, she really enjoyed going. She went with a group of friends, and she said it was a lot of fun.
Can you expand on the thinking classroom, please? Who is that?
Yeah, so that's an educator from North Vancouver, and he works in a number of districts, but it's basically to take a problem-solving approach in the classroom in the way that the teacher plans, puts up the information, and develops the assignments and tasks for the students.
Do you have a name for this individual? Or?
Yes, I can provide that to you. I'll just have to look it up, and it's actually in one of my previous reports as well.
If you could just text it to me.
Absolutely.
I'll do some research. Thank you.
No problem.
Any other comments, questions related to the electronic report? All right, can I, all in favor of accepting the electronic report And then we have some additional information regarding out-of-district field trips that the information has been attached for. Did I get a motion to accept that? Moved by Aaron, seconded by Ida. You said the senior boys qualified?
Not yet, the zones are coming in.
Oh, okay, if they qualify. I like this because I know what to watch for now. For sports, anyway. All right. Mover and seconder we have, all in favor? So out-of-district field trips are accepted, and we have a community coach from
Upper Pine.
Upper Pine, yeah, thank you. Didn't think of school melody with that for a minute there. So could I get that motion made, please?
Come on.
Moved by Aaron, seconded by Ida with great encouragement from David. All in favor? Bill, you have a question, or are you just waving to me?
He's frozen waving.
That's good.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
I hate being on there, just get missed every time, so.
Well, thank you for, tried to sit so I could
No,
see
it's fine.
better tonight. Moving on now to the Secretary Treasurer's Report, which is page 15 in your agenda package.
Okay, we have the very first finance update since I've become ST, so I apologize for that and I thank you for your patience. Fort Ambrose construction update. Did we need to? Oh, no, it's okay.
You're okay.
The update, the road is done right after, of course, we were wondering what was going on. The road is done and I believe they're back to pretty much normal, and the activity has stopped around the school at this time, so I think that's a big sigh of relief there. ECE funding update for students. There was an attachment I sent. So we have some, they're looking for some growth in the ECE program, so they've talked to Fort Nelson, Dawson Creek, and Fort St. John, and each school location will be each district will be receiving $25,000 for the administration of the program. And they're looking for up to 120 ECE, funding up to 120 ECE students. ECE program students, yeah, within the 3 districts. So they're really putting a push forward with that. So Brian Campbell is very excited about that. He's already.
And Northern Lights is probably very excited about
Yeah,
that too.
yeah. And then we have the HR support staff summary, which we will try to make a little bit more robust with positions for the next meeting, but this is the one we have for this meeting. So, and that is my report.
Okay, can I have a mover and a seconder for the Secretary Treasurer's Report? Moved by David, seconded by Aaron.
Oh, Bill had his hand up, he can
Oh,
second that.
seconded by Bill, all right. Discussion, questions. Let's look at the financial update. Any specific questions related to the financial update?
And we're this is pretty status quo, but we're doing some research and hopefully next month we'll have a little bit more of a less just numbers and more explanation.
Can you just elaborate on the Alberta students? I know it's 0, but then when I read the notes, I thought, is it supposed to be 0?
It is supposed to be 0 right now.
Right now, okay, but
And
it's coming.
It's coming, yes.
Okay.
So generally the money rolls in mostly in the spring. The winter is a little bit of a hope, but the spring is when the money comes in, so.
Because we at one point thought that we weren't going to be able to have any students from Alberta.
Yeah, and that's why we budgeted 0 for revenue, but
How many do we have?
10 last year?
And last year, we're right about the same. I'm gonna say 9 or
Thought it
10
was
again
10,
for
but-
this year.
That's memory, and I'm 65, so you know.
Oh, get over it.
And
The deficit, is that pretty on par for this time of year? To
Yeah.
have a deficit of 796,297?
Yeah, because our funding slows down in the summer, so we still, we don't have the wages, but we're still, the majority of, the construction work is done in the summer, so we kind of move forward with, large expenditures there, but we don't have the,
Oh, this was October 31st, and then when do we get the funding from the government after our 1701?
the funding comes in,
I don't remember, is that the January?
December, and then
Oh,
the funding
December.
starts to roll in January.
Oh, okay, so that'll totally change come next month, or
Come January.
come January, okay, thank you.
Great question.
It's that 72 slide PowerPoint.
Didn't even make it
presentation.
through. Just be excited for the last 32 pages when I'm unleashed, so. Any other questions?
related to financial Bert Ambrose construction update, but they didn't pave, did they?
They paved the road,
But
but not the parking lot.
I thought they were, okay, sorry, I have to ask
The
that.
parking lot is the district's, and we delayed it, and I think we were hoping to loop them, get them done together, but
That's what
we
I
weren't
thought.
even expecting them to pave the road, and then the next day it was done, so.
Because I thought that the deal was that if we had them pave the road and then pave the parking lot at the same time, it would be less, it would be cheaper, and that's why we wanted to do that. Did the contractors know that, or the city know that?
I can't speak to that.
Okay.
I have to talk to Chad about that. I think that was.
I know the city knew about it because we talked about it with Victor.
They didn't even think,
Yeah.
they didn't even think that they would pave, and then the next day the paving was done, so.
Okay. So are we still committed to paving that parking lot?
The city wants it.
The what?
The city wants it.
No. It
No,
would
but
be the-
we said we would do it. I just wanted to make sure we're still committed to doing it, because kind of like, here's your birthday present, but no, you don't get it now,
Not
you
this
know?
year.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was going to come back to us was how they eventually configured the inning and outing of the parking lot, because when we discussed that, we weren't sure how they were gonna do it and how they were gonna set up the school traffic flow. And the last time I went down that road, I couldn't do what I wanted to do to explore it, so that would be good to know too, would be what the school traffic flow is. That way I won't go in the wrong way.
Just don't do it during.
You're 65, you're allowed.
I forgot which way.
ECE funding update for students,
That's crazy.
very exciting.
Yeah.
What? Sometimes when they offer ECE programs, there is some overlap in the skills that we need for educational assistance. Do we have any kind of feedback to the people that are putting the program together, what we need? From us as a district, or are they just putting the program together? Because sometimes there were, what shall I say, optional courses or courses where there was choice, and some people came out of ECE with a stronger background to move into an EA role. I mean, I don't know in our district that we're going to need 120 educational or ECE people, but we certainly need skilled people as EAs.
So I can't answer fully, but I know a little bit about the ECE program and the EA program, just from
Yeah.
working at the college and having partnerships with them. Their ECE program is very robust. It's one of the best ones in the province, and they can go from their, getting their ECE certificate to getting a diploma to even getting a bachelor's degree in early childhood. So I think it's up to the student if they want to take those, electives or not.
Electives, that was
So
the
they
word.
leave it up to it's just like in my program, I have students that can take electives that will lead them into the Bachelor's of Science in Nursing if they just take 2 science classes with the social services. If they don't do that, then they have to take them later, and that's on them. So they do leave it up to the students to make some of those decisions, and I think, which is good, to do that. It would be up to, you know, whoever is talking to the students who are enrolling in the dual credit to give them those options and let them know that if they take these extra courses during their electives, then that will help them, that where they could then either do ECE or EA or whatever and make a smoother transition. So that's up to the person that they talk to. So I think that would be up to, you know, Brian Campbell's department to counsel the students to take their electives that way.
I guess what I wasn't totally sure, whether we were just finding students who had any input into the program at this point in time.
No, the program's set, like the EC program is set
Stephen?
for a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah, we don't. This
Okay.
is part of a provincial push in anticipation of more daycare spaces around the province and the ability or inability to staff them. So they're basically coordinating with colleges and then making sure that we're supporting that through shoulder tappers and other.
David?
So that's 120 students in 3 districts or 4 districts? 3 districts, so 4 each.
Still.
Doesn't mean they'll get that, but
No.
they're gonna be able to fund up.
Fund up to 4. That's crazy. That's awesome.
No, it's really, really good. And what kind of support are they going to be looking from us within the system?
In what sense, sorry?
Well, are they going to be looking for practicum placement,
Yes.
that kind of thing?
Absolutely,
Have to.
yeah.
Yeah, we need to
And,
practice.
And the district is, usually on a smaller scale in the past, but certainly for
Yeah, we have.
for the other programs and groupings, I always support that.
It's just that 40 all at once is
So-
a
Indeed.
lot.
So they're thinking like, 3 placements a year per class. Duncan Cran, Alan Hall,
And we certainly have more programs now than we have in the
Correct,
past.
yeah.
To be able to have those people
Okay,
be placed.
perfect.
But there's also community placements too, like the
Absolutely.
ECE student, you know, they go into Baby Bear, they go to Wiggles and get like, so there's lots of community placements. And I know that our school district, even with my students and with the education students and the BSW students, our school district has been fantastic with, practicum students, in all kinds of areas, so.
Just something we could put on the agenda with Northern Lights College if we ever get a meeting.
Yeah.
To say it's one of our mutual areas of support.
It'd be nice if they also did dual credit for the social work. I can't say that because that's a conflict of interest for me.
So at agenda setting and human resources support staff summary, we talked about our teacher one tells us what's happening with teachers, but when we look at support staff, we have bus drivers, we have EAs, we have secretaries, we have a variety of jobs within the human resources for support staff. And so it would be nice to know if out of those 10, 3 were bus drivers and 2 were EAs or whatever. And so we talked about that. And so Angela has promised to look into that for next time, just so we have a breakdown of the positions.
So what does that do though for privacy? Because when it says new assignments 10, we don't know where they're at. But if it's bus drivers, there's only this many bus drivers. And if we know that there's, 1 new bus driver, then we know who that is, right? So.
Well, there's a lot.
There's like,
There's a lot of us.
Yeah, but there's not. I guess what would that do for the confidentiality of these people? That's all I'm asking. When you break it down that way.
Well, I don't know, because we often get the monthly letter from CUPE saying this person was appointed here, this person is leaving. So we actually do get the document with the name.
But it's not in a public meeting.
No,
That's
but
my
it's-
only
it's
question.
staff.
It's a fair question. I think the idea is let's see if we can break it out into job classes. And we'll make sure we run it by, the QP as well as perhaps ECPC in terms of that. It's a good question.
the concept of breaking it down into job classes was just for our awareness.
I get it, but I'm just curious about, then maybe that's something that
Not
goes in
enough
camera and not in public,
It
right?
could go into the in-camera, you're
Because
right.
I just want to be conscientious of the confidentiality of some of these people. They may not want
Yeah.
anybody to know, right? And if
We
you
were-
only have like 30 bus drivers and then you got one new one, I mean, we might know who that is. Right?
Yeah, and so it could perhaps, if you do discover that it's in violation, it could go into in-camera. It was just when you look at some of the kinds of
get it.
decisions
I get
and
it.
having public, it's nice to kind of know where our flow is.
So we'll run it by BCPC and then we'll
Yeah.
run it by the,
Yeah, I mean, I get why, Helen, it's just, I just wanna.
no, that's good.
All right, all in favor then on the secretary treasurer's report, and I remembered to call the question this time. All right. Moving on to item number 10, reports of the regular committee of the whole meeting on November 1st, which is page 16 to 17 in your agenda package. And Nicole sends her regrets. She's had to leave the meeting at this point because she has a child that's not feeling well. So. So could I have a mover and seconder for those minutes, please? Moved by Aaron, seconded by Bill. Are there any errors or omissions? All in favor? Carried. Business arising from the minutes, I would like to bring forward that that K-12 sector guidelines for vaccination policies is out of draft. And I would like to raise the concept of perhaps putting it, after we get a little bit more from BCPC, perhaps putting it on the district website and Facebook page so the public is aware of it, versus having it sit there in draft. We know what the changes are now, and we know the concept of having those meetings in camera around this policy is very much reinforced in that document, and that would be good information for the public.
We can do that.
Are we gonna attach like a number or a web or an email address that they can email or contact to if they have questions? Because once you put it out there, you have to have a way that they can.
It's already out there in the public. It's available on the ministry website.
No, but when we direct it more, I mean, I didn't know it was on the ministry website, right? So, and I don't know, is anybody walking the streets gonna know it's on the ministry website? But once it's out there in social media world, it might make its rounds. And so is there like who's the contact person that somebody can contact if they have questions about it or concerns about it or want input into it or whatever, right? Are we just gonna put it out there?
At this point, it's just an information item and an information document. We were not in a position to respond to or comment on it. We didn't create it.
So put the ministry number up there.
Yeah, I suppose.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, if you put it out there like that, then we may get people who want, information. So, what's the purpose of, I think, I'm not suggesting we don't put it out. I'm just saying,
I guess partly the purpose for putting it out there is that there is some misinterpretation around what is in this document, what process districts are following, and you're gonna start to get, well, why and this and that.
So then who do they ask those questions to? Who's the staff person that it's gonna be directed to? That's what I'm asking. Are they just gonna call the board office and then the
If they
secretary
do,
answers
we already
the
put
phone?
this out to all staff, haven't received a single question on it, and it really, if I understand correctly, Helen, your idea is just to make sure the awareness
It's the
around that
awareness.
is being updated, because it was actually already out of draft even prior to this.
Yeah.
And so, staff are not in a position to answer any questions or take any feedback on it, because we didn't create it, we're not able to respond to it.
So it's not a bad idea if you put it out for information and you put, it can be found on the government website.
Yeah, or contact the
Yeah,
government.
you don't even have to write contact, just put, it's,
Yeah.
because then if they do call, you could say, well, no, you could go through the government.
We can say,
We're just putting it out for information.
Yeah, we're putting it out for information.
it's not a district document. it's
No,
not-
and I think that needs to be clear, right? Because you may get somebody from WTF Fort St. John saying what, and then next thing you know, it's, you know, five.
So thanks for great advice. We'll preamble that with the fact that it's a provincial document that can be found here on this provincial
There you go.
website. And
Yeah.
through the ministry's website, there's all kinds of ways that people can then contact or send feedback on.
Yeah.
Because when you put it on your website, it's you
Yeah.
actually saying it, right?
So we just need to frame it properly.
That's
So,
good. That's kind of where I was going.
We can talk about framing that, and I don't mind helping with some of the wording for that if you want, but you
Sure.
can think
Yeah,
about.
don't blame us.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
just the messenger, and I'm not disagreeing with putting it out there, but we, you know, I just think we need to be mindful about how we're doing
If
this.
Chair wants to put together a preamble, we'll then
We'll
put that
talk
within the
about,
company.
yeah.
Right.
That was a good information because it isn't our document.
No, which is fine.
Well, and we've already had lots of people wanting to contact us and tell us, and, you know, the concept that which meeting are you making this decision at, so I can be at? And I think making it very clear that this is an in-camera discussion and will be an in-camera discussion, and that it only pertains to the development of the vaccination policy for staff, not for students, because that's one of the biggest misunderstandings out there right now that's causing a high degree of anxiety. So, yeah. We can talk further about that, Stephen.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think all of the action items that were there are done. Policy committee, I don't think we've got anything to bring forward yet.
No, I think in a couple weeks, we're
You've got
meeting
some
to
of that.
set the
Yeah.
agenda, and then, yeah,
Yeah.
we're good.
Right, BCSTA, Aaron, provincial council.
Yay, so that was a fun meeting, and it actually went by really quick until we had, a last minute motion, which always happens. So, huh? Yeah. So the budget was passed, everything was passed, the grants were talked about and passed, you know, so that was really good. The motion, where is it? The provincial teacher shortage, that one passed, unanimous, support, so that was really good. That was the one on, writing a letter, BC Education Degree Granting Institutes. I did mention about, I said that we didn't need to make a motion, but to ask the executive staff, like the BCST executive, to be conscious that in places like ours, where we do have a great program, the ACO program, that when there's less seats than what they allocate, they don't run the program, and that, you know, that is also the flip side to this. That, you know, when you're looking at a teacher shortage, that, yeah, the seats might be at 16, but if we have, you know, 13 students, we should still be allowed to run the ACO program. You know, so I did mention that. I didn't feel like that it needed an amendment to it, to the motion, and there wasn't one, so they are aware of that's our feelings for that, so. And then the declaration of national opioid death crisis, that this one also didn't have a lot of, you know, both of these the three motions that came to the board to discuss didn't have a lot of discussion around them at the provincial council table. And so anyway, this one also passed unanimously, so that was good. Looking at declaring it a public health emergency, and having a pan-Canadian overdose action plan. So that passed. And then the increase in funding for AFG, again, not a lot of discussion. We could all use AFG increases, and that also passed unanimously. So all three of those passed unanimously, which is great. The motion that came to the floor last minute was COVID-19 Health Authority notification processes in school. So the initial motion came, and it was to, you know, be it resolved that the BCSTA immediately requests that the provincial government work with the health authorities to increase the transparency, timeliness, and accessibility of information for caregivers on COVID exposures, cases, and outbreaks in schools and classrooms in British Columbia. So this one had a few amendments, a couple of amendments failed, a couple, one passed, which is the motion that was adopted. The motion itself was defeated. There was a lot of discussion on this one, and it was really that, I had mentioned, that these exposure notices are very, time consuming on our staff. You know, they may not serve the purpose that they were intended for. And that our health authority has changed how they were doing the exposure notices, and that, you know, we work well with our health authority, and is this going to kind of put a nail in that, where, you know, maybe they're thinking that the province doesn't work well with the health authorities, and what is the purpose of this? And so there was a lot of discussion around that, like, what do you mean by timeliness? You know, in some cases, they just have, the capacity is not there to jump on it in 30 seconds, right? And so how can you force somebody to be timely in something when they don't have the capacity to be timely? And so then what does that do to your relationship? There was a lot of discussion around that. And the board that brought this forward doesn't necessarily have a great relationship with their health authority. And so that is why they brought it forward. Around the province, it seemed that most districts have, there's a few outlier districts, but most districts have a good relationship with their health authorities. And they felt that this motion, because it came late, it also didn't go through the legislative process, was poorly worded, and that it reads like we don't have a good relationship with our health authorities, right? And so the motion that was adopted to be voted on at the end was that the BCST immediately request that the provincial government work with health authorities to increase the timeliness and accessibility of information on exposures, cases, and outbreaks in schools and classrooms. The motion was defeated by a huge margin. It wasn't even close. It wasn't defeated unanimously, but it wasn't close. It was like 60-40 or 70-30 or something like that. It's quite a large spread. So I think generally speaking, provincially, we feel that we're doing okay, and each district needs to be distinct and have what they need for their district and work with their health authorities. And if there's any issues, to use the provincial channels to deal with those issues, and that if we had a motion, that it would destroy some of those relationships. So that was kind of the discussion. So that is that, and that is all I have for PC, and it was lots of fun, but I wish it was in person.
Yeah. Oh, wow. In person has got a ring to it. So I did finally get you some information on the partnership liaison meeting stuff. It did come out today, and will be attached to the minutes. I wrote a brief summary of what went on over the 2 days, and then attached some slides from all of the presenters. Our question did get asked, which was kind of exciting, but it was a very roundabout answer. And what it did, the answer tied into with our advocacy around assessment wait times. And it was, we've got good news coming for rural and remote districts, but she couldn't talk about it. Well, the good news is the concept of moving to regional hubs for supports for students through the Ministry of Children and Family, through supports for children with needs, with or without a diagnosis, based on removing the funding from families that have had it for autism and moving that into the hub. So some of that's going to come back to us because it's going to cause a fair degree of controversy.
It already has.
Yes.
So what does that model look like? Can you expand on it?
Basically, what we've got told, and it hasn't been fully fleshed out, but
the pot of money so each parent, each family have a child that has autism can apply for funding, and depending on the severity of needs, they get that funding. Instead of them getting the funding individually, it's going to go into this big pot.
And they're setting up regional centers that will not necessarily be Vancouver, and they're going to start to supply services in those regional centers based on need, not diagnosis, which then ends up having some implications for us as a school system, because right now, we, our learning assistance or model, special ed model still is based on diagnosis. They'll put together professionals, and the one difference right now is if you're a parent of a child with special needs, you kind of end up managing what's happening with your child.
Yep.
So these hubs or centers are supposed to help families by having a case manager for the child, for that family, so that that case manager is going out and making all kinds of links and things like that. I think the first hub is supposed to open in 2025, so it's a couple of years away, but already there's
Huge pushback.
there's some huge pushback that's going on. I don't think it really answers the question of a lack of
Professionals.
diagnostic assessments for kids, because we know that a diagnostic assessment does provide our school system with some really important information. It depends on what kinds of assessment tools they put in for needs-based assessment. So it's kind of a, we know we've got a problem in the system, we think this model will fix it. Trust us while we get going and give us a chance to get the
Yeah,
model going.
but the challenge was that they didn't talk to stakeholders. They just figured it out, you know, the talking heads figured it out, and they didn't really talk to parents, they didn't talk to, you know, so there's a
So,
lot of issues.
basically, because this was Ministry of Children and Families, Minister Whiteside just alluded to it, and I thought, I don't know what's going on. What did she mean there? I didn't catch it in my notes. And then when the notice came out about these hubs, because she spoke specifically to the backlog in assessments, and I thought, oh, our advocacy piece, I've got to figure out what's happened with that so I can bring that information back. And then that's what started to emerge.
But the backlog is due to capacity, it's not
Exactly.
due to lack of finances, it's due to human capacity, not financial capacity. That's the backlog, like,
Yeah.
there's nobody to do it, so.
Yeah, so stay tuned, more coming on that.
Helen, Stephen.
Yeah, sorry, just from a staff perspective, they're trying to create some alignment between what initially they called the prevalence model and trying to get away from what they're calling the medical model, in which everything is about the diagnosis as opposed to what the needs are. And so the new inclusion policy, for example, from the ministry, is about what is the needs of that student and of the students around them. So they've just never been able to figure out how to fund it in a way that aligns with the philosophy and the inclusion policy.
And then the interesting thing too was that Minister Whiteside in her opening remarks said that work on the funding formula review is on hold right now because there's so much else that's happening within the system. So we're kind of in a bit of a limbo to those contradictory points get sorted out. But like I say, I got all excited and then started to listen and went, oh, that wasn't really what I was hoping we were going to hear.
No.
But we did. So if you have any questions related to the slides that I attached, please
Contact
let
Karen
me
Howard.
know. Be advised, there are new acronyms appearing. When Minister Whiteside talks about EDI or Bruce talks about EDI, it is not the Early Developmental Inventory. EDI now stands for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, and you're going to find that that's the theme for everything you get from BCPC. It's going to be everything you get from the ministry, and you're going to hear those terms come up at Academy. And then the other new one is FCIP, and that's Framework Continuous Improvement Program, and Stephen's going to talk a little bit more about that under new business. So,
Was it bored one day and figured that's.
You need to change the letterhead and
Oh my
spend some
God.
money, David.
so, all right, 11.1 is done. 11.2 BCPC IDA.
I have no report in public.
There was tons of good stuff at the symposium, but they haven't
They haven't
sent
sent
it back
it, so.
to us. I'm really hoping, the last two sessions on, or two of the sessions on Friday One was on professional boundaries in K to 12 with Lisa Southern, and that one was really good. It'd be nice to have the stuff back from that, and also the case law review. I don't know which ones you liked, but I liked those two.
Yeah, I like the equity one.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
And board Prody committee, we'll come back to that after academy. I will let you know at academy, just to put this in your mind, the breakout sessions are going to be very different. You're going to stay in the room, and the presenters are going to be the ones that are rotating. And the first group will do this work, and that work will be up. And then the presenter will bring that information, and every single session will build on the work that's gone before. So it's a very different model. It's not necessarily going to be sit and get completely. And the concept would be that they may not go as deep into some of these topics, but there'll be a lot of awareness raising, and then boards can figure out where they want to go deeper in things. So stay tuned. We do not have any correspondence, and I don't think we have any unfinished business. So new business, Stephen.
Yeah, thanks, Helen. There is an attachment in your documents. It's called Options for the 2021-22 Framework Peer Review Process. And in discussions with Helen, certainly from a staff perspective, we feel that we have a very good understanding of our framework, as well as we have a board strategic plan. And so we would like to do option one. And option one is where the review simply proceeds immediately based on our submission of the framework and documentations to the province. Whereas option two would be where a district would like to do a lot more review and work around this throughout next spring. And so unless I hear otherwise, we'll be doing option one.
Option one made a whole lot of sense. And this is where there's another new acronym, and one of the sessions at Academy will be about it. If you're here, FCIP, that's Framework Continuous Improvement Program. And what we're going to eventually get is a rubric that you can look at your framework and look at your strategic plan and see where your district fits. And there may be some districts that get more remedial help than others.
Yeah, and just a reminder to trustees that definitions of these terms are not clear across the province. And so we're fortunate that we have a board strategic plan, and we have a robust framework, which was kind of our, you think of it like a services plan or a operational education plan. And so the ministry is using the term framework for basically everything. We will figure it out in the end, but SD60 has done all the legwork for this, so we're confident with option one.
So it shouldn't be a big stretch for us.
No, but we weren't putting up our hand.
No, I
going
don't.
pick me for option two.
Yeah.
And I
appreciate that.
did jump in there and tell Stephen,
Sit on your hands.
I'm
Sit
happy
on your hands.
not to do option two, Stephen.
Yeah, no, and at the same time, we'll look forward to any constructive feedback that we do get.
And the timeline for when we're going to hear back from people is in that handout that
Yeah.
Stephen, because it does mean that we should be getting formative feedback in December 2021. So it will come in December. And we'll look at what they have to say then.
Thank you.
All right, Michelle, thank you for waiting so patiently, and it's your turn.
All right, thank you. Congratulations to the board. And I know you have one more yet to do, but it's actually worked quite well tonight. I was very impressed. So good job.
Well done, Angela.
What's that?
Well done, Angela.
Well done, exactly. Madam Chair, what was the FCIT again? What was the acronym? I missed it.
FCIP, Framework Continuous Improvement Program.
Oh, it's a P at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was, okay, thank you for that.
Pronunciation is not great, but you'll probably be hearing lots more about it.
Yes, this is the first I've heard of it, so thank you. Yeah, I'll be taking a deeper dive into that. I really don't have a report tonight, other than, you know, in elementary schools, the report card exhaustion for teachers, and I just know that everyone is working really hard to make sure students are being taken care of, and they're being assessed. And when you are talking about ACOT and looking at recruiting and retaining teachers, we really need to highlight Peace River North. It's a great place to work and to teach, and for students to learn. And anything that the trustees can do around getting more teachers here, that would be great. We do have a bit of a slump right now, so I just would encourage you to reach out to any contacts you have. I know I have reached out to friends in Saskatchewan that may want to, you know, move to BC, but considering we can't even drive to Vancouver right now, I don't know how, you know, anybody's wanting to come to BC at all. Anyway, that's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have you, can I ask you something?
As long as it's gentle.
It is, it's a good question. Have you been to see the new ACOD students? Because they're walking around the college these days. They're in classes and stuff. The
Yeah,
cohort.
I don't meet with them unless I'm invited, so.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So we don't have QP here tonight. We don't have anybody here from DPAC, and I don't think we got any questions from the press
No,
and public.
that's correct.
So we have no in-camera motions to be brought forward for implementation tonight. So, no. And therefore, I would like a motion to adjourn. Moved by Fast on the Draw, Aaron, seconded by David.
Slow on the draw.
Oh, there's Bill.
Oh,
Give it to
Bill.
Give it to Bill.
Bill, all in favor? Thank you.
Thank you. No, I just have a kid. When are you home? When are you home? Because, you know, her brother's not brushing his teeth.
Thank you, Michelle, Bill, everybody online there.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, kids.